Time to Shine Today podcast Varsity Squad. This is Scott Ferguson, and I'm super stoked and blessed because I got a little Midwest flavor. My good friend here, Kim Sorrelle from the awesome state of Michigan, where people that know me know I have roots in Michigan, and I absolutely love this time of the year. It is the fall. It's the middle of September, and it's starting to turn the colors and whatnot. It's just a beautiful time, and I'm so blessed to have Kim on. Kim is the author of Love Is. It pulls from 1 Corinthians 1 or 1 Corinthians 13. And people that know me know that I'm a Christian. I really dig into the New Testament. And I just believe that it's, to really love and not for being boastful or giving just to be noticed, but giving because you just really want to give. And that's what really takes place within this book, and within my friend Kim, who is an entrepreneur, director of a nonprofit organization. She's a breast cancer survivor. Woo-hoo! Author again, mother, grandmother, if you can believe it. If you're watching on YouTube or Vimeo, can you believe this woman is an actual grandmother? She's absolutely stunning, but she's also just a rock star author. And so while she was working in Haiti, she dedicated a full year to figure out the true meaning of love, a daunting, sometimes scary, sometimes funny task that she writes about in her book, Love Is. And if you stick around long enough, we're going to have a free book giveaway to a lucky listener. And Kim, thank you so much for coming on. Please introduce yourself to Time to Shine Today podcast Varsity Squad. But first, Kim, what's your favorite color and why?
Purple. I think we share the same color, the same favorite color. I have always, my entire life, purple has been my color. It's just, yeah. I'm not sure why, but it's just a special color.
It's regal. I mean, if you look in the book of Numbers and whatnot, you get in there and the cloths and everything is kind of royal, regal and whatnot. Plus it's a mesh between, red and blue. So you can have that nice, cool blue side, but I'm sure being a mother and raising children, you got that red side that can come out every once in a while as well. So, and it's in your color wheel. So that's fantastic. So let's kind of get into the origins, maybe a little bit of the roots of Kim and kind of where we started, where we kind of came through and also into authoring the book.
Yeah. Well, sure. Yeah. So I didn't come about this on purpose, I guess. I was diagnosed with cancer a few years ago, and 4 months later, my husband was diagnosed with pancreatic cancer.
Oh my
gosh!
And
he passed away 6 weeks later. And so it was crazy, right? I mean, you never want to hear the cancer word once, but to hear it twice in 4 months. And my husband was wonderful. We had a great marriage. It was great. We had 5 kids and got these 11 grandkids now. And most of them never got to meet my husband, who was wonderful. I was 47 years old, never expected to be single at 47, never expected to be alone. We were going to be that couple on rockers, on the front porch, drinking lemonade in our 90s, whatever, smiling at each other, whatever it is people do in their 90s. And so it shocked my world. It rocked everything that I thought was going to happen with my future. And it really made me question love, the true meaning of love. And being a Christian, that John says God is love. Not that God loves, but God is love. So love is something you are. So love isn't an emotion or just a word you throw around or something that's only between couples or whatever people think of love is, but it's something you are. It's living, breathing, walking, talking. God is love. So what does that even mean? Like, what does that even mean? And I just question love because did I do it right with my husband? Am I doing it right in general? Am I being love to other people? I figure if you are love, if you can be love to other people, you are being as close to the way God wants you to be as humanly possible. So I decided, okay, I'm going to figure this out. I'm going to figure out love, the true meaning of love. And so I took 1 Corinthians 13, hear it a lot of weddings, your eyes glaze over because we hear it so often, right? Love is patient, love is kind, does not envy, does not boast, etc.
Yeah.
And I took one word a month to figure out what is love that is patient, what is love that is kind. And I was mostly in Haiti when I was doing it. And holy cow, my world changed. And I really believe I now know what love really is. And I also believe we get it wrong.
Wow. And get it wrong how, Kim?
Well, I think one way is we put numbers on love. Like you go to a premarital counseling or something and people will say, well, it's 50-50 or it's 100-100, well, there's no number to love. Love and numbers don't go together. Love is love, period. And
Yes.
love is a one-way street, not a two-way street. Love is on you. And you give love, period.
Right.
If you give love to get love back, then it's not love. Then you're
Right.
doing something to get something, and love
Yes.
doesn't do that, right?
Right. Right. Absolutely. And I love, see, I just said, I love that you kind of bring that up because, I make 2 New Year's resolutions every year. One is to make someone smile every day. And that, see, I won, yay, won my day. And I don't expect a smile back. Here on the East Coast of South Florida, we get a lot of Boston, New York, Philly, nothing against the people, but they're edgier. And I just smile and you just might be like, what's your problem? But I understand that I'm giving and not accept looking to be reciprocated towards, right? And I love that you put that out there, that love just is. It's just it's almost static in a sense, right? Where it's just like it exists and either you believe in it as all being or not. And that's what I kind of got from reading the first part of your book. I'm sorry I didn't get through the whole thing yet, but it's beautiful. So when it comes to love, Kim, what do you find would be people's biggest blind spot to love?
I would say the biggest blind spot is that I really believe that you're supposed to love everybody.
Yes.
You should love everybody. Doesn't mean you gotta like them, but you
Right.
should love everybody, right?
Right.
And with love, there is acceptance. It's unconditional. There is no room for discrimination. There is no room for condemnation. Judgment are out the window. You let people be who they are. You realize that you have control over nobody but yourself. You
Right.
only have control of you have control of an infant for a short time, and then that infant becomes a toddler, and you realize you have lost all control, right?
Right.
And you no longer have control. And how many times I am guilty of trying to fix somebody, giving unsolicited advice and thinking that I know better. So I'm going to tell you, boy, if you just did this, your life would be so much easier. Well, it's not up to me. People
Right.
make their own choices, and people
Yes.
are individuals, and people are people all over the world. And to really appreciate people for who they are, like every day we live leads us to today. And we have not walked in anybody's shoes but our own.
Mm,
So we don't know what makes people the way they are today.
right.
To appreciate it, to understand that that's the truth, and then let people live who they believe they're created to live.
Yes.
And stop putting labels on people. Stop
Yes.
calling them by their political party or calling them by any other name but the one that their parents gave them.
Beautiful.
When we label people, we automatically think things about them, right? We
Right.
automatically make assumptions and, well, they're this, so they must be that. And most of the time it's not true.
Right.
Stop and talk to people. You'll find out that you'll learn a whole lot about them.
Right. And I love that with my coaching clients is that I don't take a niche. Like I coach everybody and I've been blessed to have just fantastic clients. But I'm more interested in their story than telling them mine. And when I am, that's my version of kind of love is because one, I selfishly get to learn from them. But at the same time, if there's any opening, if you will, to help them through, getting them, because within the person resides the problem, but then within the person resides the solution as well. And they all have that. I just think that if you come at a person, I don't mean to say that aggressively, but come at the person as a form of love, then so many things can be, again, like you said, take labels off, take discrimination off, and just really have that conversation. And love is present. I love that you just that's the way you said it. So, do you work with people within coaching for a little bit more love, or what is your business, I guess, kind of set up?
Yeah, I do. I
Okay.
do that. Work with couples, but work with
Nice.
individuals even to really learn about love. I There's groups that are using my book, like in small groups, or
Really
yeah,
beautiful.
even in companies, businesses,
Yeah.
because love is universal and it's everywhere and it changes everything. And there are people that have problems with their coworkers, or they've got problems with their boss, or they have issues at work, or they've got issues with their mom's group, or they've got issues with whatever,
Mm.
and it brings unhappiness because of these issues. Well, if you really understand love, those issues go away,
Mm.
because the issues that you have are because you're judging somebody for what they're doing, right?
Right, right.
So you take that away and your issues go away.
And I love that you say that. It's like it, I live in the biggest glass house that you'll ever see. You know what I'm saying? I'm not, throwing that stone ever first. I will protect my house, but I'm not doing it. But I'm not going to lie to you and say I wasn't the biggest narcissist before in my life. I'm a recovering narcissist, which once I implemented love into my life the right way, and my story is kind of crazy, and I understand why I was, but it's not who I am now. And I think that reading your book can get people to understand love and understand that there's an abundance of it. A lot of, there's everywhere at all times. And that's beautiful. And another thing you said is you just can't see it. But I truly believe that it's a sin not to love. And I don't mean a sin in a religious connotation. I mean it as, the Greek root word of sin is sinny, which means missing the mark. Right. And I just really believe that if you're not loving, you're missing the mark in life. And I think that we probably agree with that, right?
Absolutely.
Love
Absolutely.
it.
Yeah.
Love it. So when you're working with somebody, whether it's couples or someone to come up to level up their love, is there any good question, maybe during the discovery period, any good question that you wish they would ask you but never do?
I think a lot of it comes down to communication.
Okay.
And with everything, how important communication is. But man, do we suck at it sometimes?
Yes.
Like we can be so bad at it. And a couple can be disagreeing about something little. Usually disagreements aren't big deals, right? But then it expands, it grows, and pretty soon your blood pressure's up and your heart's racing, and man, you're throwing your arms around, you're really into it. And then somebody says they're sorry, but you are so elevated, you're both so elevated that you say, well, that's fine, but remember last week when you did, and remember 2 years ago when you did, right?
Right.
And, you're not listening anymore. You're not really communicating. Communication is important, but to communicate in love is to listen first and listen mosely.
Love it.
Listen.
Love. Yeah, and that God gave us 2 ears and a mouth for a reason. At least my mom told me that a lot. Shut your mouth, Scott. There's a message there somewhere I'd get a lot. So, Kim, if you don't mind me asking, with what you've really internalized and brought into your life with love now, what would a conversation be like with your husband if you could have one?
Oh man, it would be different. There was a lot of love between us for
Yes,
sure.
that's what I heard. I'm just curious.
Yeah, but the things that I was doing wrong was one thing I was doing is I was looking for things in return, and you can't. Love just doesn't do that. Love is kind. Love is kind. It gives. It does kind things. It says kind words. It acts kindly, with zero expectations of anything in return. Not a thank you note, not a reciprocal casserole.
Right.
Nothing, right?
Yeah.
But just gives. And so to live that way in a marriage, to be 100% a giver with no expectations of anything in return. But the beauty of love, one of the things that's beautiful about love is that the more you give, the more you get. Years ago in my marriage, I wasn't happy. My kids were young. I'm running around. I'm chasing them. I'm making dinner. I'm doing laundry. The laundry never ends. My husband comes home from work, lays on the couch, takes a nap. I'm thinking, I'm doing all the work here. Like I'm doing everything. Like, what do I need him for? Why am I in this? It'd be easier. I'd be one less person to do laundry for, one less person to cook for, clean up after. And so I made a decision that I wanted a happy marriage. And so I decided I was going to do everything I could to make him happy, whatever it was. So I'd go to the grocery store and I'd buy his favorite candy, or something special to drink. And I'd make his favorite meals, and anything that I could think of to do to make this man happy, write him a note in the morning sometimes or whatever it was. And I didn't put a time limit on it. I didn't say, you know what, I'm going to do this for 3 months. If he doesn't respond, I'm out of here. I
Right.
decided I'm going to do this. I'm going to do this. Well, what ended up happening was, and with no expectations of getting anything in,
Right.
no matter what he did, I'm doing this for him.
Sure.
But of course he changed. But
Hmm.
even more so, I changed. My attitude toward him changed. The
Mm.
way I looked at him, how he appeared in my eyes changed. The qualities that I loved that I married came out more and more. And
Right.
leaving his underwear on the bathroom floor became less and less important.
Wow.
And that's one thing that love does is that it changes you.
Yeah.
It changes you.
Yes. Yes. I love. Again, it's beautiful that you're saying it that way. And but though with your reciprocation, it's like you're not expecting it, but you're open to it, right?
Oh, sure.
Okay, good. I just want again, that's something that I coach my clients on is, I mean, I give until it hurts so good, not expecting anything. And it's something I've learned over probably the past 11, 12 years. And it's changed my life, just like you said. It's attracted my lady Susan into my life. It's attracted, just fantastic things. And I'll sit back and go, damn, do I deserve this? But then I look back and I'm like, well, yeah, I kind of do. Who's being open to it. So, Kim, have you seen the movie Back to the Future?
I have.
Okay, let's go back to the Double Deuce, the 22-year-old Kim. Um, what knowledge nuggets might you drop on her? Not to change anything, although your life has been tumultuous and kind of crazy, but it is full of love. But not to change anything so much, but to maybe help her level up, last through, or shorten that learning curve just a little bit.
One thing that I've learned over life, and everybody knows probably, is that days can be so long, but years go by really fast.
Wow.
And so to sit back and enjoy the moments, like when you're a mom and you're cooking at the stove and you've got this kid poking your arm and poking your arm and and you're going, buddy, I'm trying to cook, I'm making us dinner, whatever.
Right.
I wish that I would have stopped and
Mm,
just taken a moment and said, Luke, what do you need, bud? And it
right.
probably would have been a 20-second, I made an airplane and run away, or whatever it was.
Right. Yeah.
And if I would have taken the time and not looked at my kids or anybody else as an interruption to my plans,
Right.
but realized that they're the most important thing, any person is way more important than my to-do list.
Right.
And I wish I knew that then and
I
lived it.
love that because when we pass on, our inbox isn't going to be empty. It's crazy you just said that because I was driving yesterday and school's in and there's just a huge car line. And luckily I live right around the corner from this car line. That happens all the time. But I'm driving in, I was kind of stuck and I'm monitoring people in their cars. I'm a people watcher. That's just me. And I'm seeing parents look really kind of peeved that they're there. And I'm thinking, man, if do they know that in 12 years from now they're going to wish they were sitting in that car line again and enjoy that moment. I love that you said that about your son poking you and just probably wanted something really little. I love it that you're transparent like that, Kim. And so how do you want your dash remembered? That little line in between your incarnation date and your expiration date, your life date and death date. Hopefully, God willing, it's way down the line. But how does Kim want her dash remembered?
That she loved.
Right. Love it. That's enough said. It's I think you're gonna kind of slide across home plate, bumped and bruised, but knowing that you've left a mark on people and that you loved and you're paying it forward, that's a beautiful thing. So Kim, what do you think people misunderstand about you the most?
Uh, I think one thing that people really misunderstand is that people change, people grow. Like my 22-year-old self, hopefully I'm a different person now.
Mm-hmm.
I've often thought that somebody should write a book. There's books on toddlers and on adolescents, teenagers, and then we stop.
Right.
But what about getting through your 20s? And
Yeah.
you're a different person in your 30s, right? And what about a book on your 40s, a book on your 50s? Like it's different. And
Right.
you should allow others to change and allow yourself to,
Love
and
it.
then recognize that change happens.
Yes.
And don't think back, like you're going to a class reunion and you remember this high school Kim, this high school Scott, and you think it's
Right.
the person because you're not going to be the same person.
No, I mean, just look in the mirror. I'm 50 years old and I look back at like when I was, 18, I'm like, I look different. And then the thoughts that kind of come up in my head of like how I was thinking then, it's crazy. So Kim, outside of anything electronic or digital, what are 3 things that you can't live without? So what I mean is no cell phones, no computers, no technology. What are 3 other things you can't live without?
Okay, so things, not people, right?
It can be people,
Well, and of
places, or
course,
things.
my
Absolutely.
family, friends, whatever. I
Community,
can't live
right?
without beaches. I love the
Okay.
beach. Love the sand, love the beach. I can't live without a paddleboard.
There you
That,
go.
by the way, I often call it the wrong word and I call it a waterboard and I invite people over to waterboard
Oh
and
my
I
gosh.
never get any takers. I don't
They're
know.
like,
Then
they're like,
I just do it alone.
you got to come down here. I was literally on my board this morning with my rescue pit bull. And we have Hurricane Earl that's kind of stirring up there. Luckily, he's not coming our way, but it has its fun waves. Usually it's crystal clear and stuff, but we got to get some waves in today. And my pitty absolutely loves it. So yeah, we call it sup here, like stand up paddleboarding. You go and sup. My friend in Michigan, he owns a company called That's What's Up. And he's got a really cool paddleboarding place. So if you're ever over on the east coast of the state, Brandon, I can put you in touch and you have a fun little paddleboarding excursion over there in like the Wixom area, Commerce area. It's really nice.
Oh.
But okay, and I'm figuring love is probably at the top of those things you can't live without, right?
Yeah.
Yes. That's what it's all about. I love it. I love it.
That and probably black licorice maybe might be.
Okay. Well, you can have that. I'll let you have that. It's an acquired taste. That's awesome. That's fantastic. And squad, we're going to take my good friend Kim here through our leveling up lightning round just as soon as we get back from thanking our sponsors and affiliates. Time to shine today, podcast varsity squad. We are back, and Kim, I have a feeling we're going to hook up one day and at least have a nice little chat over some coffee or a bev or dinner or whatnot. But we'll probably talk 15, 20 minutes about a few of these questions that I'm going to ask you. But in this, you have 5 seconds with no explanation. So you ready to level up?
I'm ready.
Let's do this. So, Kim, what is the best leveling up advice you've ever received?
5 seconds. I'm trying to think. My dad has given me so much good advice, gave me so much good advice over the years. One of the things with business was watch the pennies and the dollars watch themselves.
Love that. Wow. Share one of your personal habits that contributes to your success.
I make a list every day of
Beautiful.
what I'm going to get done. And
love it.
I always put more on my list than I can actually do in a day.
Good for you. Good for you. I do the same thing. Again, when we die, our inbox won't be empty. So love that. So if you see me walking down the street, you're like, Fergie, man, he looks like he's in his doldrums a little bit. Outside of Love Is, what other book, maybe one on that shelf behind you, might you hand me to help me level up?
Get to, it's a book about, instead of saying
I have to get to, love it. Read it. Yeah. Beautiful. What's your most commonly used emoji when you text?
The one with the smirk.
All right, love it. Nicknames growing up?
Kimmy.
Kimmy, okay, awesome. Chess, checkers, or Monopoly?
Monopoly, just because more people can play.
Love it. Go-to ice cream flavor?
It's gotta be mint chocolate chip.
Dude, we're best friends already. There's a sandwich called the Kimmy Sorrelle. What is on that sandwich? Build it for me.
Okay, it has roast beef, tender roast beef. It has grilled onions and grilled peppers. And it has a few different kinds of cheeses, a little bit of mayonnaise, some salt and pepper.
Oh, we are buddies. Absolutely. Favorite charity and or organization like to give your time or money to?
Yeah, well, I run an organization,
Let's hear it.
International.
What is it?
Raise of Hope International. Okay. We're a partnering organization. We work with people in their own country who understand the culture and the language and the true need, and we just walk alongside.
Love that. Love that, Kim. And last question, you can elaborate a little bit on this one, but what's the best decade of music? 60s, 70s, 80s, or 90s?
So easy, 70s.
70s.
Anybody that says anything else than the 70s does not listen to 70s music.
Dude, 70s music was the best storytelling music. You could understand the lyrics. And it's funny because, again, I was in my early stages of life in the 70s, being 50 years old now. So when I lost my mom like 3 years ago, like tomorrow, and so, like I'll play when I'm like editing a podcast or getting ready for something, I play the 70s. It's weird. I'll throw on the Eagles or just something that just kind of takes me back to a really calmer place. I'm an 80s guy just because I kind of, graduated in 1990, but the 70s was the best folk. I mean, Croce, I mean, all those like this fun music. So I love that you said that and you're sticking to it. You're convicted to it.
Sticking to it. Yeah.
I love it.
A lot of the artists are still around.
They are. And it's awesome. And what's being nice in South Florida is they'll come down here in the winter and throw up impromptu shows. It's crazy.
Wow.
2 doors down is a guy, Larry Jackson. He was in the Four Tops, right? And he plays every Thursday night at a place just himself, and it's just like kind of like takes me back a little because Four Tops was 60s and 70s, and it's fun. So, Kim, how can we find you?
Well, I am literally the only Kim Sorrelle, spelled my way in the entire world,
Right?
because it's an obnoxious name. It has way too many letters. It has 2 R's, 2 E's, 2 L's, Sorrelle. So kimsorrelle.com, that no one will ever remember, is my website. You can also get there though, loveis.info. I do have a love challenge, free love challenge on my website. I send you, if you join, I send you a wristband, a WWLD, What Would Love Do wristband, in the color of your choice.
Love it.
Yeah, so loveis.info, but I'm all over social media. And again, Kim Sorrelle, I'm the only one. And so you put in Kim Sorrelle, you're going to find me.
I love it. Love it. Kim, tell us a little bit about your book here, Love Is. And I know we got into it a little bit, but I do want to do a free giveaway to anybody that does put Love Is into any of our social. I don't care if it's Pinterest, Instagram, LinkedIn, whoever, first one that puts Love Is, Kim's going to autograph it. It'll be on Time to Shine Today's Dime, but we'll autograph it and mail it out to you. So whoever puts Love Is in there, but let's a little bit about the book, if you don't mind, kind of like a footnotes version in a sense, without giving too much away.
Yeah, absolutely. So each chapter is a word from that poem, right? That 2,000-year-old poem, Love is Patient, Love is Kind. And there are actually 14 words. So it took me a little bit longer than a year.
Very cool.
Because I did one a month. I focused on one a month. And so I start each chapter with what I think it is. So, like we know what patience is, whatever, what I think it is. And then I tell the story of what happens to me in Haiti that brings me to the realization. So I was chased by a motorcycle gang. I had to sleep outside with the tarantulas and the snakes and the chupacabras or whatever's lurking in the bushes of Haiti.
Sure.
I lost on a mile-high mountain with a medical student from Central Michigan University, actually. And so crazy things happened. And I learned from those crazy things. It finally took me all month, every month, took me to the end of the month. But that's what the book is it's the stories of what bring me to the realization, and then it's the realization.
That's love is all around you. I guess that's and it takes me a little bit to the movie Love Actually. Have you ever seen that? That's fun, and it's just like love is all around you, and it is, and it's static. To me, it's just there, and you just have to just tune into it, kind of like a radio station, if you will, metaphorically, of course. But that's awesome. So do me one last solid and leave us with one last knowledge nugget we can take with us, internalize, and take action on, Kim.
Okay. I would say love that is patient listens. And instead of being with somebody, asking them how they are, meaning those words, first of all, and then realizing that this is the most important moment of your life. What's in the past is in the past. What's in the future is yet to come. This is it. This is the moment. So instead of thinking of your to-do list or the meeting that you have later, what you have to pick up at the grocery store on the way home, love that is patient would say, no, you are right here, right now, and you're showing love by giving the person everything you got.
And I love that. I say love all the time, but it's kind of like so many people like have a foot in the future, a foot in the past, and I piss all over the present. And what you're hearing is just stay right there. it's a beautiful thing. And squad, I just had a fantastic conversation with kind of a homegirl of mine here, from the great state of Michigan, and she went through, metaphorically hell and back. She's diagnosed with cancer, lost her husband to that nasty pancreatic cancer. It's just sad. It rocked her world. It made her question the meaning of love, and she reminds us that love is something we are. It's not an emotion or word you just throw around. If you can be loved, that is as close as you can get to God, or if you don't believe in God, then your creator, as you can humanly possibly be. Sometimes we put numbers on love. And we call it like a two-way street. Kim wants to remind us that it's a one-way street. You give without any want of reciprocation, because that is true love. But the thing about that is, and Kim reminded us, is that no matter what, God is going to give, because he's a good God. And if you're just someone that don't believe in God, then your creator's a good God, and your universe, or however you believe it, is going to provide. It's going to come back to you the more you do it. But don't do it for that. Do it because it's freaking the right thing to do. You don't have to really like somebody to love them. And that's something that I know going through relationships and kids and whatnot. And she wants you to really stop putting labels on love, because again, love just is. And she wants her younger person to remember, or even anybody out there that wants to pick up on this, that days can be long, but the years go by really fast. Enjoy the moment, slow down. Because my good friend Kim here, she's planting trees with this that she's probably never going to sit in the shade of. And it makes me grateful to be connected to her. She has her nonprofit Raise Hope International, which you will find in our show notes. She has a fantastic book, Love Is. Again, that'll be in our show notes with a free book giveaway. And that her name is spelled with 2 R's, 2 E's, and 2 L's. So it's very unique. So you can find her very easily, online or anywhere she is. And then, reminds us also, Leslie, that love that is patient, will keep you in the moment. And we want you to be persistent with your love as well, to continuously love, and until you just becomes who you are. Like she said, love is who you are. It's not something you're striving to be or something you're trying to give. It's who you are. And that's what my good friend Kim is. She's full of love. She levels up her health. She levels up her wealth. She's humble. Yes, she's hungry. She's earned a varsity squad letter here at Time to Shine today. Kim, thank you so much for coming on. I absolutely love your guts.
Oh my word, this has been fantastic. You are amazing, and I can't wait to have a coffee or whatever
Yes,
this with you.
definitely. We'll chat soon. Bye now.